I'm gonna take that as a yes. All right, so hello everyone. Thank you for all showing up for the third Magma AMA and just Q&A, in which we are here to sneak peek a couple upcoming features that we're going to really be bringing to Magma, as well as spending a bit of time answering a couple questions. Today, Anya will unfortunately not be joining us. She is occupied with a couple other things right now, but we still hope that this session will still be good and it will be perfectly fine. Another announcement is that Wojtek, who you may recognize from previous meetings, is not here today. This is because he is currently actually at GDC, doing big business things, really chatting and meeting with other people who are involved within the game industry. So when it comes to the questions that we can and can't ask, or not really can and can't ask, sorry, can and can't answer, we will try our best to answer as many questions as we can, but there are some that we really can't say because we might not have visibility when it comes to those sorts of things. But instead of that, or keeping that in mind, we're actually going to be hosting or asking a couple of questions to the community, specifically about future updates that we're interested in rolling out. This is very much in the planning phase, so we can really talk about it. So it really involves like expanding layer limits, for instance, in order to let people draw more while also reaching a middle ground in which our servers don't crash from all the memory. And also, secondly, in terms of creator economies and what types of cosmetics you would like to see on the platform. So, bit of an agenda today. After that, we'll be discussing the Q&A. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining. There is the Canvas link as well. Let me post that now over here if you want to go hop in and join. And to start things off then, Ryan, would you like to talk a bit about the public gallery? Or the profile gallery, sorry.
All right, so as you know, we are working on the user galleries that are going to be added to your profile. We've mentioned this in a few of our previous AMA sessions, and yeah, I thought I'd show you some of the progress. So first thing to note, you can obviously go to your profile simply by tapping on your icon over here, but we've also added a dedicated button for going directly to your gallery. So you can just hit that, it'll take you there straight away, nice and easy. But what about other people? Well, we've also added to user tooltips, we've added a view gallery button. Before this was just the avatar and the user and display names, and you could click on that, will go to their profile, normally to the about page. But now you can instead just hit the view gallery button and it'll take you straight there. So yeah, we've got a few people busy beta testing. Sanitary is one of them, but I see he hasn't added anything yet. So let me show you some profiles from a couple of our beta testers doing awesome stuff. Some of them have helped us with the blend tool testing as well, and also with our multiboard feature that we've shown. Now they're looking at the gallery feature. So we've got Basil Make Vinegar doing some really cool stuff here. And you'll have your standard about section and a dedicated tab to switch over to. And yeah, it'll indicate things like how many people have liked your photo, how many have seen it, how many have commented, how many participants were on that particular drawing, because this is about helping you to share what you've actually been making in Magma. And often that's a collaborative effort, right? So there'll be this option here, or this indicator here for how many people have been on this particular jam. And I'll show you a good example of that in a moment. This is Nexus really filling up the gallery there. We are still making some changes to things. This is going to evolve a little bit further. Like, for example, this button doesn't quite work very well over here, so we're shifting this down to the bottom instead. We're playing around with the sort of layout with the gallery tiles a little bit, looking at a 2-column layout rather than having 3. Then we have Sad Banana, or Cerulean Banana, as you might have seen here on Discord, getting some cool studies in. It's really fun crow. But I love this study actually. So what you can do is you can actually click on the drawing in the gallery, and it'll open up what we call the lightbox view, which will be a larger image. And then here you'll be able to see your stats again, how many people have liked it, seen it, commented. You can add your comments here down at the bottom. But another thing that you can do is actually hit View Canvas, and it'll take you to it'll take you to a read-only version of the canvas. So you can't make any edits or anything, but you'll be able to see the layer structure. Now, because this is part of testing, Banana's just added in here, like just imported an image from the device into a canvas, and then they brought it up here. So you don't really see much of layer structure, but we have another good example. Let's just dial right back here. We have Roves, who hosts frequent color palette jams, which are really awesome, get a lot of views, a lot of interaction rather. And here you can see, the number of participants obviously are much higher on these because these are collaborative canvases, not just a one-person drawing. So you can click on it and then also get, a full view of who all participated on this drawing. And you can hover on their tooltip, see where they are, and then go over to their profiles if you want to. And then, like I said, you can hit View Canvas. You get a read-only, non-editable view of the canvas, but here you can see who owns what layer and who did what. So if you're like, wait, who did this really cool like reptilian thing here? See, their name is Trash Ferret. So you could look for the layer around here somewhere. There's Trash Ferret. I can hover over the user, but it doesn't show a tooltip here. That's maybe something that we can add. See, this is the kind of thing when we go through testing, it's like, oh wait, it would be nice to actually go to this person's profile from here. We're missing. This is something that we've forgotten to add, and that's all part of the process in developing these features. We've also got Winter over here. It does some really cool things. Pretty detailed, almost traditional painting-like studies, looking really cool. So yeah, that's kind of the status of the gallery at the moment. It's on good track. There are a few UI fixes to make, some improvements there, and yeah, some minor changes. But overall, no major issues, and we're looking on track to release that quite soon. So what I've done is created a list of all of our beta testers who are already uploading content, which is going to be important for the next feature that comes after this. So I recommend giving them a follow so that you're the first to see what their final profiles look like once we make this gallery thing public. Yeah.
And if you are interested in checking out progress and whatnot, feel free to also check out the beta testing chat. It should be public, so if you are interested in just like seeing comments and are interested in more of like the finer technical details, feel free to go there. Okay, so that is it for profile galleries. Let's move on to the next bit then. Marta, would you like to share your screen, or I guess talk a bit more about joining those you follow and about the updates that we really have to help you find your friends and other artists on the platform?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so sorry, I had a small lag. Can you see my screen good?
Yes.
Okay, so something that we recently introduced and released to the platform is this panel for following your for the activity of your following and followers, and recently drawn with. And we added new cool feature for this small panel here. If you don't know how to open it, it's just next to your avatar in your art desk, or actually anywhere in Magma, in your art space or art gem pages. Just click these three little fellas here, and yes, the list should load. And these are actually people that I follow. And something that is new for the platform is this tooltip that would have either icon of a brush with a closed eye or either a art gem icon. We added, when you hover over it or click it, tap it on your mobile device, there will be a display tooltip for the canvas that they actually are drawing on now live. So you can see the preview here. Actually, all of you guys, like you Sungyat and Sat Banana and Sindri are on the same canvas, I guess, on the same art gem. We are on the same art gem together, but yeah. So from that tooltip, you will be able to jump into the canvas directly and see the see what they are doing, chat with them, say hi, and whatsoever. Obviously, we took care of some little issues that may come across, like for example, maybe you are not into sharing whatever you're drawing currently, so it's easy to go to your options and privacy options, and you can toggle here whether or not your activity is streamed to your following. You can turn it off, turn it on, and both for art gems that are public canvases and private canvases which are in the art desk either or in the art space. That's, I guess, will be all from this part. Yeah, we
Perfect.
can jump into
Yeah,
the stream, into the
this
art gem
is
now.
okay. So this is live right now, as some of you already have seen, and we also posted it previously. But yes, now with this feature, the hope is that you'd be able to find where your friends are, specifically in the art gem space, in order to really join them there. So this would be particularly helpful if, let's say, you met someone on Magma that you don't really have a personal contact with and you want to interact with them more. This feature will allow you to do so. But if you are also curious with like privacy concerns and whatnot, you can also go and change them in the privacy settings. So hopefully you guys have been having fun experimenting with it. And yeah, that's it when it comes to joining other people. We are still adding a couple more things into the future because we really want to enhance the social side of Magma a bit more. Hence why we have profile galleries and also these joining interactions. But yeah, that on the social side, that's what we have. Okay, so in terms of something new and exciting that you guys haven't seen before, we know there have been many requests about many different features. So this would be in terms of, let's say, like animation, for instance, or like magic wand tools and whatnot. But another feature that we actually have been testing for quite some time is this. See my oh, it is not sharing. Can you see my screen?
I
You see
can
the
see
art
the art
gem.
gem,
All
yes.
right. Dang, it was not supposed to display the art gem. Give me a second. Okay, if I channel this, can you guys see this? Would you like to guess what this is? So for a bit of spoiler alert, we have seen the comments. And when I say have, I say it's something that we've been looking at for a long time. And I'm just gonna let it speak for itself. We've been testing time-lapse actually for a very, very long time. Remember when we had our autumn week of art jams in which we tested out different ways in order to host time lapses and experiment a couple of these big art jams? This was also an experiment for us to test the limits really with time lapse features in order to make sure that if people do want to see the progress on art pieces, that they can. This has taken quite some time to roll out, and I cannot promise that it will be done in the near future because there are lots of memory things. But this is something that we've worked on for a couple months ago. As you can see, this one is around 1 minute and 40 seconds. And this one is another time lapse where we were also limit testing it a bit more. If you guys have been on Magma and you have seen the Lion Realm art jam, amazing art jam, by the way, we used it also as a testing ground in order to really try to optimize the time lapse feature. So from a dev's perspective, this is also quite challenging, right? Because we would have to essentially trace or remember like revision histories in specific art pieces. And more importantly, right, when it comes to such a public piece, we would want to make sure that there is a setting that lets you deal with trolls or people really messing up your canvas, right? Because let's say you want to share a time lapse to your friends, but then afterwards, like someone like paint bucket fills, or there's a little like troll activity on the canvas, right? You want to make sure that there is a way in order to really address that and maybe like remove that from the platform or from the time lapse itself. So I'm just going to play this again while I talk, just so there's something to look at. We're still really ironing out the details in terms of how we can really nail down a time lapse feature, but we have been listening to comments. It is coming, but whether or not we could do this in a way that doesn't crash our servers and also makes it in a way that's like really both easy but also helpful for our users to use is a discussion that we're still actively trying to work on and improve. So I can't say this will be coming to Magma in the near future. We're still ironing a couple of details, but here's a bit of progress to show that we are actually working on it and that we've been quite excited about it. Okay, so I will stop sharing my screen and going back to the actual RGM itself. And then afterwards, we can go into a couple more specific details about what we've been working on and also a couple things that we are particularly interested in. So if you can, so I'm going live again, just hopping in from one thing to the other. So another couple of updates that we want to cover is, first, Magma is now on Blue Sky. We've updated it on our website that if you do want to join us, you can go to our website and find this here. And because we know that there have been several things going on, so if you are interested in maybe going out and joining us on a different platform, feel free to hop over to Blue Sky, and if this is your main platform, follow us here and keep yourself in the loop when it comes to these sorts of updates. Let me post this into the chat right now so it is also convenient. And then a couple other notices is that we have been looking at the Discord and the bit of comments that we've had in terms of link posting policy. We have removed the RGM channel, but we have been thinking about ways we could reintroduce link posting to some degree, because we do also acknowledge that sometimes when you want to find other people on canvases or you want to like showcase a cool canvas, right? Not making links postable can be a bit of an issue. So we are still revisiting that and trying to find ways to really work around it in order to find a best of both worlds. But just want to let you know that we have been hearing comments and we're trying to figure out a good middle ground for all of us. All right, solid. So just a bit of an update towards that. And finally, one other thing that is in the works right now is a contest, because we are interested in really looping in the Magma community for many different initiatives. So we are dabbling in the idea of trying to reward members of the community for certain initiatives, whether that would be art pieces that we can make, or like community events. So that is something that we are currently looking into, but we can't really promise anything because we are still in the beginning of discussions. But if you are interested and maybe competing in some way, shape, or form, do keep your eyes peeled and just hover around in order to partake in these events. Okay, so that should be everything so far. Before I dive into a couple new things that we would be interested in getting your opinions on, any questions initially in the chat?
In the chat itself, no, but let's see, we've got some other questions here. One person was asking about if we can have a copy paste function for mobile, which is possible. I'm not sure where they're struggling there, but we do have a paste file option in the edit menu, which will make it easy to bring stuff in from your device. Sometimes you have to enable clipboard permissions. So if you're looking at the screen here, just next to the Magma canvas link on the top left, there is right above that, sorry, like actual next to the address, in the address bar, there's this little like slider looking icon on the left. And there sometimes, if you've accidentally blocked clipboard permissions, you'll have to click on that and then have to fix it. Frank. Yeah, you'll have to click on that and enable permissions. Yeah, some people asking about whether or not we'll get Magma offline as an offline app. That's not something we're actively working on. Obviously, the beauty of Magma is in the collaboration side of things, which does require an internet connection. So keeping things in the browser enables that and keeps it versatile, where you don't actually have to download anything. You don't have to store drawings on your device if you're low on space. There's a lot of benefit to keeping Magma completely online. So yeah, just to address that. Some people have asked about animation. That is something we've covered in previous discussions. Something that certainly would be cool to do, like a simple thing, but currently not working on that. But anything's possible in the future. What else is that's kind of it. Yeah, actually, most of the questions were about animation, but there is one here about unlimited undo. There's a lot of limitations around that. I don't know if you guys would be able to explain why we can't really do unlimited undo yet. But it is challenging storing all that information with multiple steps with multiple users.
Yeah. Since we want to allow as many people on one canvas as possible, that means that we need to distribute the undo actions between everyone. So to make it further and make it all like a real-time experience, we cannot allow more undos so far because of some chronology issues then on the drawing, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we dive into future questions, unless I see TS1 and Grass, you both are typing. So yes. Undo redo history window selection for Magma.
Interesting.
We do have revision history. But I think what we're specifically looking at there is maybe a better UI for it, a better display. TS1, would you be interested in maybe elaborating a bit more? If you do want to come on stage, feel free to do so as well.
I see Crooks is saying undo is overrated. Oh yeah.
Don't be afraid of mistakes.
Paint
These
over
are
it.
just happy accidents, right?
Sure. I just like text. So yeah, just maybe I can elaborate a little bit on that as a suggestion. We've like on Photoshop, for example, or I think maybe even Krita has it. I'm not sure, but you have a Docker or a little window from your view menu where you can tap that open, and it just has a list of the actions, and you can kind of jump back to actions that are listed there. Can be quite useful rather than just undoing step by step. Oh, one line drawing challenge.
Yeah, I understand what's going on. Like with the list, even like with the list, you can quickly, let's say, undo last 10 brush strokes, for example, and up till like other operation that you remember you did, like eraser, for example. So there's a stack of actions, like 5 times you use brush, and then there was an eraser, so you remember, I erased something, so up till this moment I want to bulk undo some actions. I understand benefit of this, like can accelerate like drawing speed and etc. But yeah.
Fixing mistakes. Yeah. Cool.
Neat. Well, I don't have, or I guess I don't think the four of us have visibility about whether or not this is on the agenda, but that would be quite useful, and it's another good quality of life improvement.
Yeah, definitely.
We would be interested in
Version history can serve as this. Like, if you want to, for example, check like different atmosphere of your drawing, you can save different versions, like I don't know, autumny or evening, night scenery, and change the filtering. Then and go back to the previous version without a need to use undo, because if you know that undo is limited to like some sort of amount of actions, then maybe you can run out of your limit and then cannot go back any further. So I would definitely recommend using version history. You can save your own versions and have way more freedom in like experimenting with different versions of the same artwork.
Neat.
So, Sungyat, I
Also,
see you've already
one.
addressed a. Sorry, I see
Yes.
you already started addressing a question that was there about the option to move like the color wheel and the layers menu. I know, but Marta has looked at some sort of variations with UI, and Sungyat also worked with the super simple mode. So yeah, maybe you can just explain what you did there.
Yeah, so if you are interested in really accessing or customizing the display a little bit, if you go on super simple mode here, so this is full mode. So if you go here to super simple mode, you now would have the option to essentially move different layer panels or these different settings. Like this is currently live, but it is under super simple mode, so it is framed in a way where you get limited access to, or I guess the limited tool set. We also have been seeing interest in maybe like making it so super simple mode also has the advanced settings and all the special properties. So maybe that's something we could explore in the future. But currently, there is a workaround. You can shift these settings. So for instance, like the color wheel, for instance, you can move it to the left side. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to, I guess, a couple new things that we'd be interested in getting your thoughts on, there are two, I guess, questions that we'd be really interested in raising to the community. So to kick things off them, and I feel like this is somewhat relevant because we are in an art jam, and I'm curious how many layers we actually have right now. Let me see. We are on layer 53. So if 7 more layers are created, that does hit the limit.
Close.
And we are potentially interested in maybe expanding this layer limit, so more people can draw on art jams. However, when it comes to the practicalities of these sorts of things, if you want to peel it back a bit more, this does result in performance issues for certain devices. So one example, for instance, is if there is a really big canvas with many layers, it could slow things down a bit for certain users. And there is also a bit of a performance issue on our end when it comes to making sure that when it comes to future initiatives, like let's say, for instance, time lapses, that it would really impact our ability to generate or create more features depending on how heavy or how high the performance is on these canvases, right? So we've been like thinking of different ways that we can do to, because we do understand that there are canvases that would be interested in really having this feature. So for instance, if you have Blaze, you can create up to like 200 layers, for instance, right? And we've been in talks of trying to figure out whether or not there is a middle ground, because if we open the floodgates, you create lots of lag for lots of users. We limit it like this, and you want to do something really big with lots of layers, for instance, that leads to an issue. And the reason why I bring this up is because we are currently in discussions of like thinking of our ad strategy. And one potential way that we are considering is maybe making it so if you want to add a new layer that is above the layer limit, so let's say after 60 layers, for instance, you would have to either go through like enable ads, for instance, or maybe have to like watch a video ad in order to permanently increase the layer cap above the certain limit. The reason why we want to do it like this is because it gives people the option to push the layer cap higher. When it comes to, I guess, smaller devices, it would be a challenge. And when it comes to, I guess, development side of things, we want to make sure that we'd be able to roll out features, especially on really big canvases. Like we're already seeing the effects of this in the blend tool and whatnot. So we'd be interested in really getting your opinions on this potential idea. We are floating this out right now as a potential like middle ground for this. Another alternative option is maybe like limiting certain tools or trying to do something different in order to really address this issue. But when it comes to the back end, this is what we've been really thinking of, and we'd be really interested in getting your opinions on a middle ground that would enable us to more layers in a way that doesn't heavily impact performance for too many. So I'm just going to create a poll here. I'm going to post this right now. And it'd be great to just get some initial opinions. And if people do vote on the middle ground option, would be great if you would explain it in the chat as well, because we'd be really interested in hearing your thoughts and really seeing whether or not this is something that we'd be interested in exploring further. Folder for layers does not exist yet, though layer grouping is very, very heavily requested.
And also very challenging to sort of implement in a tidy way.
Mm-hmm. Nexus, would you like to? Sorry to put you on the spot, but I saw you voted that there is a couple of people voting for the middle ground. So Nexus, what are your thoughts?
So I think layer limit, right, is something that is sort of cool. I mean, it's something that is part of the session, and most likely, I mean, it needs to be moderated by the owner and then admins. So I'm not sure about like the having the ability for users to just add like layers. So I'm kind of on the middle ground about it. Maybe if its other features could possibly have that adaptation. But yeah, that's just for me.
So for you, the point of concern would be on like the moderation side. So it wouldn't make sense to allow for the existence of too many layers because it would make moderating and really finding trolls. I feel like that's a good example. It would just make it a lot more complicated. Which is fair. That would make a lot of sense. Yeah. Any other opinions when it comes to this? Because we'd be really interested in hearing your thoughts, because it's something that we can really dive into shortly, but it is also something that we wouldn't really want to explore if a lot of people aren't really that interested. TS1, we also saw that you'd be interested in maybe a middle ground. Would you like to elaborate a little further? Yes, it would be also, Frank, it would be a reasonable solution so long as it doesn't detract too much from the experience. For an example, if the ad is too long, it would be frustrating. Yes, when it comes to this, the thing that we really don't want is to make it a really annoying experience. So the ideal situation here would that the ad would be displayed and you would watch maybe for like 30 seconds, and afterwards your session on Magma will resume as normal. Because it would be something that you would want to opt into. Yes, ads family friendly. That is the big thing that we are trying to currently tackle as well when it comes to the static ads that are being displayed. And we are really working closely with providers in order to make sure that when it comes to the content that's being provided, that it really fits our audience, because it's really, really, really important for us. Yeah, 15 to 30 seconds, as long it's basically like a trade-off, right? 15 to 30 seconds does sound like a sweet spot. It's a bit hard to gauge because we don't have enough stats, but it seems slightly annoying enough that it would make it so you wouldn't be able to just create like 5-10 layers, but it would give you the option. Like, we can explore multiple avenues, but this is something that we could look into in order to really optimize this. Any thoughts, Ryan, Marta, Alice?
Well, I was going to say that just keeping in mind that this is not to detract from the core experience of Magma. This is like an unlocking element for additional things. It's not like you're just going to randomly have ads while you're drawing as well. I mean, it has been articulated, but I just want to like stress it as well because that would be incredibly annoying while you're in the flow to like suddenly have something pop up while you're busy.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess from what we talk about with all our team was the idea to put it in between sessions rather than on a drawing, so the drawing experience wouldn't be interrupted as so, like rather like yes, like on mobile games, maybe when you, for example, change the context, change the page, switch the art gem you are in, and so on. Rather in this way than while you are already in the activity like drawing. So the to avoid interruptions, because it would be hard to go back to the context when you're like in middle of your drawing. I would say.
Let's see, we've
Yeah.
got a comment here as well about some devices being weird with ads, particularly things that are a bit more dynamic and animated, or like video ads, which is one of the issues that we experienced with our round of testing recently. I don't know if Sunil, do you want to mention a bit
Yeah.
about that and how it
Well,
is a consideration?
yeah, I mean, TLDR, one of the reasons why we're really like testing it a bit, or why we're doing a really, really small rollout, is because there are certain devices that are experiencing issues when it comes to these sorts of things. Like Chromebook is one of the big things that we are trying to explore. I have been talking with a couple of users and have been going through several rounds of testing. And I would say at the end of the day, if it does turn out that like video ads do end up impacting your performance by like it would make the app unusable, that is not the avenue that we want to go down, and we really need to think about a different way we need to really establish it, right? So it's a tricky challenge that we are interested in really exploring and really diving deeper, but it is an avenue that we would be interested in doing if, or not really if, it's because we kind of see that the layer limit is an issue, because the current workaround is just to have someone with Blaze just make it and afterwards assign it, which can be quite annoying. Okay, so I feel like that's a good image cropping and stretching. I mean, yeah, when it comes to stretching and all the different features, when it comes to perspectives and whatnot, like that is something that we also do frequently quite see. So do just want to highlight that we do know it is there and that we are interested in really diving into that further. Okay, so let's move on from this conversation then. Thanks for the feedback as well. To something that is slightly more interesting. So as we mentioned last time, we were interested in really exploring cosmetic features on Magma. And the reason why this is the case is because we'd be interested in trying to create ways to really personalize your profile a bit more, and also to give your experience in Magma a bit more flair and with a bit more character, right? So we're interested. We've been diving into a couple cosmetic options that you can have, both when you're on the canvas and also in public profiles. And we'd be interested in getting your opinions. Oh, Nexus, you already hit one of them on the spot. Emotes and stickers are actually one of the things that we were considering. And one of the big things that we are looking to explore, I'm just going to say cosmetic options, is to create either a store or a way for users to create their own cosmetics, either share or sell it to other people on the platform. So the idea here is that if there are certain platforms, for instance, that would create their own cosmetics, but we also do kind of feel like on Magma, there already are lots of very talented creators, and more importantly, I'm assuming that there are a couple of people here in this audience who might be interested, are interested in maybe making some cool cosmetics and then having other users equip it. or maybe making some money on the side, that is something that we are interested in really expanding into. So I'm going to put out a poll right now about a couple of things that we are interested in really exploring. And it would be great to get your opinions on which ones you'd be interested in really seeing more of, because this does impact what we decide to develop first, and it also does give us a gauge in terms of whether or not something that we think would be really exciting would actually be exciting or not. So a second while I make this poll. Sharing of brushes, emojis and stickers. And I'm going to post this. And it would be great if you could vote on the options that you would particularly be interested in seeing. Note, when you do vote, please don't vote for all of them at the exact same time, because it doesn't really help us prioritize if all the votes are the exact same. So for a bit of context of what it possibly could look like, custom cursors would essentially either change the circle that you see on your canvas when you're drawing, or maybe add a bit of flair to the outside box when your name is on the platform. Profile borders are something similar to maybe like Discord, where whenever you click on someone's profile, they have like a little cosmetic flair around the side. The third one is custom sharing of brushes, like in Photoshop and Procreate, the ability to maybe set up your own creative brush packs and really sell in the store. And the final one is emojis and stickers. So that would be the ability to either react to drawings on a canvas on like a temporary basis. So let's say like, oh, you see Marta drawing quite a cool Frosty or a blue version of Pyro there, and you want to react to it. You can like paste a sticker, which would be like a permanent reaction, or you can like react with an emoji that would like have a temporary reaction to the post. And the idea of all of this is it's something that you would be able to make yourselves, and after we like approve it, you'd be able to sell it on a marketplace, either in a limited capacity or like an unlimited capacity. Still very early in the process, but we'd be very interested in seeing what cosmetics you'd be interested in really making. Yes, rake brush sounds familiar. Ryan, have we done a rake brush?
So, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I'm good. I made 2 rake brushes, which are sitting there waiting. But we ran into some issue. I'm not clear exactly on what the issue was when trying to add them to the brush list. I don't know if there was some weird incompatible setting or something, but they are there. We've just had a lot of other priorities ahead of that. But it is. I'll give Wojtek a little nudge because that's on his table in his inbox.
Because I do remember it, like you sending me like pictures of like, or in the chat about a rake brush, and I was like, I wonder where that discussion went. But yes,
Yeah.
it's somewhere. It's floating around there, Sani. It will be here. So I can't promise when, because it depends on when Wojtek gets on it.
Let's see if I can find it.
I love to create things for these profiles. I'm actually just reading your comment, but would I be able to put these up for free because I can't take payments? Well, we haven't really thought about to that stage. What we were thinking is that we would be able to create a store in which you would have the option to either list things up for free or to list them for a certain currency. Either that would be like probably not a real world currency, it would probably be credits, to be honest. And the reason why is because currency conversions and fluctuations is really messy. But it's something that we're interested in really having a discussion a bit more. And what we want to really nail down is what cosmetic features we should focus our time into maybe trying to make first, before understanding the mechanisms of like a shop or the creative engine behind making these features. Flamebucks. We've been talking about potential words that we could describe. It's like ignis is one of them, magma bucks is another, but Yeah, I can't believe no one wants to like emojis and stickers. Emojis and stickers. Next, just want to say it is something that I am personally very excited for. But currently, custom cursors and custom sharing of brushes, yes, are the two big things. And yeah, that would make sense. Great.
Crooks, this is actually something we
Joyce.
responded to. When we were watching the stream, like a bunch of the team have been watching parts of the streams and the drawings that have been happening at different times. This was this thing of the currency did stand out to us, and we had a good laugh about it because we had been discussing it already. Very cool. Need more layers.
But we need more layers, please. How we add layers without crashing canvases. How we do this. But
I have a
yes.
follow-up question to the poll you made, Sung. So,
Yeah.
Sungyat. So, I'm interested in custom cursors. So that gives me this vibe of, like early 2010, when you could have like this sparkling emitter cursors that would, I don't know, propel some stars or sparkles and everything. But you mean cursors that would be visible to others, right? That's the idea, not to me only.
Yes, it would be visible to others. The sparkling idea is something that I was thinking about in terms of different cosmetic features that we can. But I would say when it comes to animated cosmetics that we can make, so in terms of animated profile borders, animated cursor effects, so let's say when you like draw across the screen, not only is the cursor like fancy, there are also lots of particles, right? Yeah, X's, you pretty much hit it on the nail on the head. It would really impact performance, so we have to figure out a way to do it. And secondly, if we want to make it make Magma how do I say this? It's like if you want to be able to customize or create your own cosmetics, this is essentially adding an animation tool, because you would have to add a way where creators in Magma can create an animated effect to sell on a store. So in order to even have the discussion, we gotta figure out how to do the cosmetic side of things, which is a whole like can of worms that we know we gotta open at some point, but let's focus on our strengths, which is like static images for now. So yeah, it seems that I'm just gonna look at cursors and brushes are the two main things that we could really explore. That's very helpful, and I can bring this to the rest of the team in order to really let them know that it's something we're interested in really exploring. But that was very helpful, and love the discussion, and also the fact that you guys are catching on into a bit of the difficulties that could occur when we actually decide to dive into the cosmetic front. Okay, that's everything in terms of questions that I personally wanted to answer. We have 10 more minutes left when it comes to this AMA, so just wanted to float everything out there. Any other questions that you'd be interested in us answering? We mustn't put the animation before the illustration. Was something about a horse?
Yeah, absolutely. Building some more core tools first before we get there.
Are there any questions in the Q&A channel, Ryan? While we
no new questions there.
Start trickling in.
It's all active in the chat here. You mean of a selection? Because with vertical flip, if you switch to the if you've made a selection of something, you can switch to the transform tool, and there is a vertical flip option there. Or if you want like a view flip, like of your whole viewfinder and the whole canvas sort of flips over, that's a different thing. Oh, of the view. Okay. That I think that would be kind of easy to implement actually. But says me who knows nothing about coding, so I'll be quiet. Devs will shoot me.
Don't promise much.
No. Would you mind elaborating a little bit more about that? Unless Ryan, you know specifically
about the embed tools.
Yeah, about embed tools.
No, Cooks, can you explain that a bit more? Because I'm not sure what that be. What else
If
was
you are
there?
interested in
Magic?
hopping on stage, let us know as well.
That could be easier, actually. There's no stranger to the live stream. Yeah, cool. Would you mind adding him, Sunyat?
Okay, yeah, sure. Let me invite you to speak.
Hey everyone,
Hello.
Yo.
good to hear you. It's
Hey.
so cool, really. Yeah, I was just laughing so hard with currency. It was just crazy that you're actually discussing it because during the fighting I was too deep to focus on it. But yeah, when I got invited to test the presentation mode,
Mhm.
and it first I was so excited because I thought it was kind of the embed, like an embed feature where you could embed a canvas on a different side, but then I realized that it's more like still an observer mode on
Mhm.
Magma itself. So I was wondering, like, is there anything planned like regarding embed features where there's just like a pure presentation canvas, which I think could also be interesting, like ad revenue-wise for Magma to implement on different sites. Yeah, that was basically the question.
So we'd be able to like embed the canvas live, like onto another site.
Exactly. Like basically just
Interesting.
having a link, just like a very regular YouTube stream link. And I thought it was so powerful. And first I thought that would be the presentation mode. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. And I thought it's like a link that you just basically like an iframe, you just paste onto a different site. And then you just have a pure viewer mode. You cannot do anything. You cannot do
Mhm.
you cannot participate. But I think
Oh.
it would massively open up, like because I think the community and everything is so powerful. But I think it's in this regard, it is still in a way not fully harnessing the potential, like I would say, and going outside into the world and really opening up to the public. And the cool thing about the embed is that it would engage viewers, but it would still keep the safety in a way of
Mhm.
like people would still have to register with Magma and do the things. So yeah, that was basically my question. What I'm personally like really curious about. So yeah.
Interesting.
Ryan, do you remember, like back in the day, we had this idea for like embedding video tutorials into Magma, like creating a small panel, like a reference window, where you can play a video of someone else, like Bob Ross, for example, doing this happy mistakes of his, and you could watch it in the corner and at the same time paint yourself. Is this something that you have in mind, Kumail?
Um, yeah, it's even simpler, I think. It's really just like an observer mode. For example, if you have a blog or something, or if you host a challenge, and then you just have that basically have that embed code, and or even other people can put the embed code of a public session in, or for example, now if you have a blog post and I could just live look at what is happening in the jam, like that is just, it's basically an external canvas on a different
Mhm.
side. I
This
mean, of course,
is
technically, I don't know if it like how it
Oh yeah,
would
yeah.
work,
So
but
like
so
Yes.
something like thumbnails that we have in Argem, right? They kind of update a little
yeah,
bit
pretty
in real
much, yeah,
time, right?
exactly, just
But
more in real time, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
exactly.
So
we
extracting this and creating like maybe we could press share button from the editor, and there would be this like
And
instead of
embed
copy
link,
link, you
yeah,
would have
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
embed code with
exactly,
this
exactly, yeah.
wrapper around it
Oh my
that you
God, that
can,
would
yeah,
be, yes, yeah,
yeah. That
exactly.
I I think that we can present this idea to our engineers and ask their like
Phenomenal.
yes,
it,
yes.
it's in line
What
with
will be
stuff we
their
have been talking
proposal?
about I see Frank mentioned like spectator mode, and that's exactly the term that we've kind of discussed a little bit,
Mhm.
like how to, because a lot of people like to sit and lurk, particularly in like the line realm jam, or in Pigu's drawn and base jam, where it's constantly running. Sometimes people just like to lurk and watch. So yeah, this idea of a spectator mode for things has come up before, but the
Mhm.
idea of being able to embed it elsewhere, that's a kind of new idea that would be quite interesting to add to that. Very cool.
Yeah, definitely. I like it as well. And by the way, like we already were thinking about it to do something like this on our website. So if there would be a particularly cool jam, right, to that would be featured on the art jam page, why not feature it also on the homepage of Magma, like the main page, I mean. That was something that we already talked about, and this would basically be exactly what you are talking about, Kemain. So it would be a live canvas that would be streamed sort of on the main page of Magma, for example. Yeah, I guess this
Very
was
cool.
Amazing.
something that we were talking about
Yeah,
before.
phenomenal. Yeah,
Or like
it's
a
really. I would totally
gallery.
skip YouTube if Magma would have this option. Like it would basically be the stream. This would be really amazing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
thank you guys for actually considering. It's so cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I
Thank you for
mean
your
that's the
insight.
point of this Q&A.
Sweet.
Let me also look at
All
a
right.
couple other questions.
Yeah.
Vertical flip, liquefy. Yes, that's something that we have been seeing many requests on. And when it comes to the prioritization, it is something that we are looking at because there's lots of feedback in terms of like liquefy and like lentil groups and maybe perspective as well, and experimenting a bit more of that. Like speed paints. We already covered time lapses. So if you were interested when we post a stream, a little bit of a teaser for you if you're interested in that. Tags based on languages is a cool shout. When you shout it next, do you mean like being able to filter jams by languages, or do you mean something specifically different?
I mean, like, so with the languages, like there would be a canvas, right? And the canvas has a tag on it that says Espanol, or it says English, or it says Norsk, like, and it says the language described on it, so that when someone joins it, they know what language they're joining, and they're not joining a Spanish server or a English server, and so that they like know where they're going, so they have the right audience to talk to.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, definitely great idea. Even to interact in chat, right? It's easy, for example, to recognize art gems that are held by people who are using different languages based on different alphabets, like Japanese, Korean, right? So it's easy to recognize them because the title is obviously written in a different alphabet. But for all the like English speaking, I think that we have this division in our community. So lots of art gems are held just in English. Maybe if we would add some other languages recognition, then more gems would appear to be friendly for people who don't actually speak English. So yeah, that's a great idea. We will definitely consider this this edition, and also we are planning to expand some and add some new features for art gems and publicly hosted canvases. So this category for language is definitely something that we will add to our consideration. Thank you for that idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, especially like
Now
with the beginning. Sorry, saying it. Like with the beginning with art jams, it started out as like a small feature, but now that it's growing so much. We're seeing a lot of growth, particularly from users in China and Korea. Well, that's kind of like global to Magma as a whole. But we are seeing a lot more jams happening consistently, and then it's just like a flood of options in the live feed, right? So being able to filter those down to people maybe in your language group or for specific interests, that'll definitely improve the experience. Yeah, thanks, Annie. That's the way. There's like different realms for games, like on Blizzard, for example, you have your EU realms, and yeah, it can be a similar type of thing, but for language.
Yeah, or even on Twitch, right? You can browse streams by language, right? So you can take part in it more, like maybe not even on the language level, but on the context level. Like you have same like jokes or sayings that are only locals somehow, right? Or you can, for example, start a jam or a challenge that is oriented on some sort of tradition that is popular in the country, right? So in one particular country. So yeah.
Cool.
I like this idea.
Does bring us to the end of this session. So in terms of next steps, then I would say thank you so much for everybody just coming together and really sharing your questions and also your opinions on the 2 polls that we put out. I'll pass these to the rest of the team so we can really discuss conclusions in terms of conclusions and concerns in terms of additional layers and as well as cosmetics. And hopefully when it comes to the next AMA, you'll be able to hear a couple more details. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for joining this AMA and see you in the next one.
Thank you for drawing together. I really admire all your Pyros villains and other drawings that you added to our jam today. Thank you.
Very cool. Thank you everyone for your input and for listening to us.
All right, bye.
Cool. Bye.
See you
Thank you,
next
everyone.
time.
Bye.
Bye.